What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we have a very thick team here of Lanturn, Mandibuzz, and Registeel. The bulk really doesn't get any bulkier than this. Now, this team was not created by me, it was created by a member of the community, Doonebug, who is a very highly skilled player who has already hit Legend and also competes in the Play Pokemon tournaments and competed at Worlds last year. So huge shout out to Doonebug. Thank you for sharing your team and congrats on hitting Legend this season already. I'm definitely very far behind, but it was very fun to use a team this tanky. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. Let's go ahead and check out some of my battles. All right, getting into the first battle here, we have Lanturn on the lead versus Gligar. So this is obviously a tough one. I am using Spark instead of Water Gun. I wasn't sure. I could have tried to maybe double check, maybe message Doonebug to see what he used. Water Gun would make some sense in some matchups, but in this case, what we're going to look to do here is try to catch the dig. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it, but I do draw out an Azumarill. Now, because we got a shield right there on the Lanturn, it is a big tell to me that if I come back in with loaded energy, we can obviously overtake that matchup. So what I'm going to look to do here with Mandibuzz is try to go into zero shields. I don't want to be shielding Ice Beams or Play Roughs. Mandibuzz is very tanky where it can easily survive, and this trainer might look to be a bit aggressive on the farm down. And because Aerial Ace got an update, it does have some decent damage, especially in this matchup. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but against an Azumarill, when you're coming from Mandibuzz, this is actually really nice chip damage, and we are able to constantly spam. Now, what I'm going to look to do here is go back into Lanturn to try to see if we can get a Spark down. They do decide to throw energy, which is fine by me. We're now ahead, but it is a 2-to-1 shield situation with a Gligar coming in. But thankfully, because I do have 2 shields and got a couple fast moves right there, I think we win the race to the third charge move. So their third dig or my second surf. So what we're going to see here is I'm going to go ahead and look to shield the next one. And the reason being that I'm decided to go, I'm not going to win this matchup, right? Is if I can get Gligar off of the field, I can have a very healthy farm down with Lanturn. And thankfully, I am able to get to the second surf before the third dig, which is really nice because that does an incredible amount of chip damage. And they're forced to throw right here. If they didn't, I would obviously farm down. And now we're going to take advantage of this situation. Boom, down we go. We're going to come in with Registeel and commit to the hard farm down right here. And we do get it. So now it's an unshielded game with a Registeel. Let's see what they have in the back. Even Medicham would be alright because 2 Zap Cannons wins. But it's actually going to be a Sableye. So we're going to go ahead and just go for Zap Cannon. This is honestly a good game. The Azumarill does not have enough energy or health. The Sableye got the attack drop as well. And there's really nothing they can do. So they do decide to surrender. Alright, moving into the next one here. What I found with this team is it was a bit different than what I'm used to. I'm used to ABB teams. This is kind of an ABC team, but we do have a Pelipper lead, which is very positive, and now with a double safe swap. So what we want to do here is try to chip the double and then look to come in with Registeel. Now, the tough thing about this is double just is very spammy, right? With payback, double kick is the fast move. It still has good coverage. So what we're going to try to do here is load up on some extra. I was hoping to maybe catch a body slam right there, but they have enough energy here where paybacks are going to be flying through. But thankfully it doesn't do that much damage, where now we can potentially get to 2 focus blasts right here, or maybe get the lock on farm down depending on what they decide to do. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Focus Blast. Obviously, they decide to shield because this is a good opportunity for them to spam some charge moves, as Double does. So we're going to give up 1 shield on this one. It is going to be the payback, which is actually really big because now I might just be able to get the lock on farm down, but they do get to a body slam here in time, which I think I can survive. And because I do, I am able to get the Focus Blast off just in time, which now gets me switch or gets me the 1-0 shield. So let's see what they decide to do. They decided to shield, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and take some extra energy here on Mandibuzz and also tank the charge move because a body slam, right? We don't want to get Lanturn too low. So we're going to tank that body slam right here. We will see them come back in with Pelipper, which is totally fine by me. This tells me that maybe they're weak in the back. I mean, obviously they could have a hard counter, right? There could be like a Venusaur back there or something, Shadow Victory Bell, right? Something crazy. But what I do know is that this Mandibuzz in this situation against Pelipper is going to be able to win it with 2 Dark Pulses. So I'm just going to go ahead and go for it because why not? Now, I'm going to go ahead. I don't think Dark Pulse KO, so what I'll do is swap into Lanturn to try to get the Spark down. And they do decide to bring in a Galarian Stunfisk here, which was lurking in the back. Now, I have an uphill battle right here, and it's going to be a mental one. It's going to be a guess of what they're going to throw, but honestly, in this situation, I think the win condition for me is no shielding. I think it is going to be keeping my shield for Mandibuzz because I could snarl down the Galarian Stunfisk, but in this case, they decided to go for Rock Slide to try to shield bait or maybe commit to the farm down, but we do get to the Surf. So, Doonebug might have been running Water Gun, and it would have really helped out in situations like the Gligar and the Galarian Stunfisk here, but ultimately we're still able to take it. That is a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. We got Lanturn versus Frostlass here on the lead. So Frostlass, something that this whole team can handle. And what I want to look to do is ultimately Frostlass is probably paired with something that can beat Bastiodons. And I'm okay with Lanturn basically like going down, like a soft loss here. Because what I can do is go for Thunderbolt and I can get this thing very low. But then again here we do land the Thunderbolt, which completely changes everything. I thought we were going to get a shield there, but ultimately didn't. So now I will happily take switch advantage. And this is what I found with this team, is it's a lot different than what I'm used to playing where, you know what, let's just give up a shield here. Let's maintain switch because the alignments that our Pokemon have in the back are pretty dramatic. Which is why we decided to shield there since we landed the Thunderbolt. Now the Hitmontop does, I should have gone for a Surf earlier, but I was hoping to get to the Thunderbolt because I thought maybe they were going to fully farm down as they do get the Triple Axle. We're going to go ahead and come in with Mandibuzz now, and this is obviously somewhat of a tough situation as Hitmontop has access to Triple Axle, it has access to Stone Edge, it has access to Close Combat. So we're going to let it go. It is going to be Close Combat, and now we have an Aerial Ace, and this basically one-shots, right? Because of the debuff that they do have applied to them, so they will let it go as we snarl down. And now we do see an Azumarill in the back, so Registeel is going to go ahead and lock that down. That is going to be a good game, very well played. Yeah, what I found with this team was the alignment was actually pretty huge. All right, we do have Pidgeot here on the lead, and we do see a safe swap into Lickitung. So what we're hoping to do is try to catch the charge move here. I go into Registeel. Maybe I went a bit early looking back at this. Maybe I could have waited a bit longer, but I was really hoping to catch the Power Whip. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Body Slam and Power Whip are both doing nothing, and I do have a lot of energy on Lanturn, which is obviously very nice to come back into matchups because you can instantly force a shield from your opponent, right? If that Pidgeot comes back in, when I eventually have Lanturn aligned back to that, I instantly have the Thunderbolt ready to go. My opponent decided to let the Focus Blast go through, which is honestly going to allow me to fully farm down with Lock On. And this is how cool this team can be against some of these meta teams like we're seeing, where you can commit to hard farm downs and have massive energy on the back end. And they decide to surrender. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one. And this is what I found with this team. It's just very simple. There's not a lot really to have a strategy in terms of like, you have to like, you know, do 10 million different things in order to make it work. It's literally just trusting in the Pokemon. If you get a decent lead that you can win by just shielding once, like take that switch advantage and just let the Pokemon do their work because they are very strong for a reason. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and give up a shield as I did land Thunderbolt, and we do stop theirs, which is perfect. I'm now going to look to go for Surf, hoping that, you know what, maybe they decide to give up a shield as well, wanting to try to get one more Thunderbolt, but they decided to no shield, which is fine by me. I can now no shield this Thunderbolt as well. I maintain switch advantage and I get the farm down, and I do have some excess energy, which is always nice. So let's see what they decide to bring in. It is going to be It's going to be a Swampert here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go for the Surf, and then I don't want to get farmed down, so I have to go into Mandibuzz. Swampert with energy is a huge threat, obviously. In order to counteract that, you don't allow it to farm you down if you have the opportunity to do so. In this case, it's saving the Lanturn and swapping into Mandibuzz. Now, they do bring in a Pidgeot, which is totally fine by me, right? This was the Pokemon that we saw on the lead. And this Pidgeot right here is going to be a perfect setup for us. Registeel is going to be able to come in, potentially farm down, but they do decide to shield the Dark Pulse, which actually sealed the deal for me, because now Pidgeot, in order to take out my team, it has to land Brave Birds, which means it lowers its defenses. So now what I'm going to look to do, boom, down goes my turkey. I'm going to bring in Registeel, and I put them in a very tough position. Because remember, they have no shields remaining. The only way Swampert wins is by landing charge moves. So what I'm going to look to do here is build up to Focus Blast, and I'm going to leave it because I know Pidgeot has to throw. It can't just keep throwing Feather Dances. I'm just going to keep farming down. But it's going to throw a Brave Bird, which allows me now to swap into Lanturn and Spark down. 3 Sparks gone. We will see Swampert come back in, which is totally fine because I have a Surf ready to go. And Swampert does not, because I didn't allow it, it won't have back-to-back charge moves, and I do get the Focus Blast off. Remember, I still had a shield as well, so that is going to be, boom, a good game, very well played. This team was like very calm and very like easy to go through. All right, moving to the next one, we got Lanturn versus Defense Form Deoxys. Okay, so Defense Form Deoxys loves to pair with Dark-type Pokemon. It's like just the way it goes. So we're going to try to play to that, understanding that there could be Sableye back there, there could be Umbreon, there could be Greninja. There's a lot of things that it could be. So we're just going to go ahead and look to see if we can take advantage of this situation by giving up a shield on the potential Thunderbolt. And now we're in a very good opportunity to maintain switch advantage. That way we can get maybe the Lanturn on the Greninja or the Registeel on the Umbreon, whatever is potentially back there. And we also have Mandibuzz as well, remember. So we're going to go ahead and double shield here, stopping the Thunderbolt. I want to maintain switch advantage and commit to this farm down, and we do get the farm down, but not before they get to a charge move, which is unfortunate, as it will be the Psycho Boost. So we maintain switch, and again, this is what this team is built for. We go ahead and swap out into Registeel. I was reading that, you know what, since I did see Umbreon come in, maybe it's going to be a Dugong, maybe it's going to be a Greninja, and I think the energy that I have on my Lanturn is going to go a lot of places. That's how I'm trying to math this out in my head. So I'm going to go ahead and go for Focus Blast here against the Umbreon. I could have potentially swapped into Mandibuzz now looking back at this, but we'll see how this plays out. We're going to go ahead and just try to get to one more Focus Blast in time. We'll have to see how the opponent decides to play this, as this Focus Blast will obviously KO the Umbreon, and they do decide to let it go. Final Pokemon is going to be a Dugong, so this is still going to be a tough situation, as I'm going to go ahead and bank a charge move and swap now into Mandibuzz, because my hope here is that I will be able to, remember, I have a Thunderbolt ready to go, and I have a Focus Blast ready to go. So that is my hope here in order to win this game, is to just be able to throw both of those when I come in, right, and KO. So Icy Winds are going to be coming through. It obviously does a decent amount of damage, and they will be able to potentially farm down. Dark Pulse, yeah, because of Icy Winds, we're not able to do enough, even though we caught the Drorun right there. I believe I caught the Drorun there, but we have Dark Pulse now coming through. This is going to get close, right? This is going to get close because Dugong here, we're going to desperately try to get to another charge move, and I will go for Aerial Lace, and this is where I'm hoping they decide to shield. Because obviously they're extremely low, but they let it go through. Now we bring in the Lanturn to throw the Thunderbolt, which is going to be a CMP tie, and this is going to be forcing the final shield of this game. And they do decide to throw the Drorun, and now remember we have Focus Blast ready to go on our Registeel. But unfortunately for me, they had back-to-back charge moves as well. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. And why I said looking back, maybe I should have safe swapped into Mandibuzz in order to win that game. All right, moving to the next one, we have Greedent. Good game to my opponent right there. We got Greedent now on the lead. Honestly, Greedent, I think, is performing a lot better this season than people are maybe giving it credit for. It got updated with the fast move Mud Shot, and with its crunch and body slam spam, it's actually a pretty big threat and very annoying. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try to do that soft win like we've done before. We'll have to see how they decide to play it out, but we're going to go ahead and let this charge move go through and look to see if we can get the Surf. Since we did land the Thunderbolt, there's no reason to go for another one when Surf is just going to be enough chip damage, and we'll have to see how they decide to play it, because if they no shield, then we will obviously take Switch, but if they shield, I can't outpace here. They're going to be getting to body slams faster than I can, so now we have to soft lose. I was hoping that we could just go in the 2-2 shields and we just soft win basically, but we will see them decide to stay in against Mandibuzz here, and we're going to try to commit to the farm down. This is going to be an aggressive farm down. I'm hoping that they only get to 2 body slams, but Mud Shot and body slam are like peanut butter and jelly, and I'm going to be taking a lot. As you can see, I'm like, yep, I get it right here. No, they got one more fast move through, so unfortunately, we will be tanking 3 body slams, but we do have a lot of energy, and with a they only have 1 shield remaining. We do see a Gligar come in, which is totally fine, as Dark Pulse here is going to do a decent amount of chip damage, and we do have quite a few ready to go, and now we're going to go ahead and go for Aerial Ace. We've shown the Dark Pulse, and I'm hoping that they decide to shield now, which they do. I will counter swap now into Registeel, because we have 2-0 shields. Remember that. I can safely shield 2 digs or 2 potential digs here and just go for the Zap Cannon. We'll have to see what their final Pokemon is, as they will get to another one, but not before I get to Zap Cannon here, which should do enough chip damage to nearly KO. Yeah, barely not enough right there, and now we should be able to farm down. I'll safely give up a shield, because now we have the 0 shields with a Registeel, and there's not a lot that can survive that kind of damage, and they do decide to surrender. So good game, very well played. And that was the final one. So, kind of casual team, not as like crazy wins, nothing out of this world. It was just like, wow, these are strong Pokemon. It's relatively easy to play. You just look at your lead matchup. Is it somewhat of a neutral? Can you potentially, based on the actions they've done, can you potentially take Switch by only giving up 1 shield, which is obviously huge for you? Then great. Do you have an opportunity to come in and load up on energy with a different Pokemon and you already got shield advantage? Great, do that. Overall, it was really solid, so shout out to Doonebug for sharing this team. Thoroughly enjoyed it and had some great sets with it. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.